saying that had she been in Africa, she'd be praying to trees. And she's wearing a wig, eh? She's wearing a wig, which tells me she's not proud of herself, her own person. And, but that happens. We have to be careful in the messaging that we send to our children. Okay? There's a reason why I actually interviewed a lady, a former educator, 99 years old, with great recall. But certain aspects of her history as a people, she did not know. Because who taught her did not know. And who taught them what they taught them by design. There is a great opportunity for us to re-educate ourselves, embrace our heritage. We see negative imagery of Africa, and we jump on it, we pounce on it, but we see things in the Middle East, how other races treat their own people, and there's nothing. It's not, it's not important. We look at other continents, and I won't mention name for reasons, and the atrocity perpetrated on the people. But we only see the negative in Africa, which is a great and wonderful place. We need to stop this nonsense about thanking our slave masters for bringing us out here. And we didn't come here by invitation, we didn't come here by design, but by desire. We came for a specific reason, to enrich other parts of the world, the colonizers. They're the ones who still have their knees on the neck of Africa in many aspects. Africans are saying to them, hey, we need you to get out of our country. We need to unite. We need to bond. We need to use our resources to build our own continent, because for far too long we have been exploited. Even though some of the colonizers would have left, many are still there with their boots on the neck of the Africans. That's why so many of them are fleeing Africa and dying in the Mediterranean, a country that's so rich with resources, but it's not shared because the colonizers still have their knee on the neck of Africa. That's my spiel. Are we ready for our station break? We're going to do that shortly. And then when we come back, we're going to open the lines for the public to weigh in. Let's see what this contributor by WhatsApp is saying. Okay, they say they're connected. So once again, good morning to Sister Henry. Good morning to Culture. I wish that the people of the Federation, friends of the Federation at home and abroad, would have enjoyed our celebration. I mentioned that the Taiwanese who have journeyed with us since the inception in 1983, that we acknowledge them for being friends of the Federation, sticking with us throughout the many times. Somebody says, well, they had no choice because other countries who actually started diplomatic relations with the Taiwanese switched to China a lot. We have remained loyal. I don't care who wants to switch for whatever reason. We have to be grateful to the Taiwanese, having established, St. Kitts Nevis was the first in the region to establish diplomatic relations with Taiwan. And they have proven their friendship over the many, many years. You understand this reciprocal? We understand all that. But at the same time, there's nothing that trumps loyalty. Right? So when the lines are open, I would like for our callers to let me know what independence means to them, how was the celebration, who really enjoyed the drone show. There's some feedback as to who was invited, who was not, etc. We can discuss it all. It's called Voices, and we would like to hear what the public have to say. The song that I played earlier is called A Flag. It was my contribution to the 40th Independence celebration. I was invited to take part in a song competition. As somebody mentioned, we normally have a calypso competition. This was a song competition open to nationals throughout the diaspora. I haven't heard the results. Maybe it's my fault. I have not followed up. I don't know what the winning song was. Who was the winner? What it sounded like? Again, maybe that's my fault because I live in a cocoon when I live here. But that was my contribution, and I dare say there are persons who say, well, they've never heard the song. They've heard this song, that song by everybody else, and that is why I asked the engineer to play a couple of verses so people who not have heard it they would know that was my contribution to our 40th independence anniversary celebration. I have something changed and I lost connection. Okay, was maybe up there in New York is saying that she would have lost connection. So, Mr. Engineer, when you get here, please have a look at it. Something changed and I lost connection. We'll keep trying. Chris Collins. What do you say, my friends? Okay, let's see. Listen to sweet voice. And Chris Collins saying, bless you, my body. So we have a couple of contributions by WhatsApp and all that. So yes, 40 years is nothing to sneeze at. And I watched some of the ceremonies via the internet. Very much enthralled by what I saw, very much encouraged. And the messaging to younger people, that sense of pride that we need to convey to them is very, very important. Okay, I got some daddy here. I'm looking for the engineer. I need to go to a station break and get back. I have some callers who want to get in on the program. So back with Sugar, good morning. Hope you're getting a connection. Right, well. Okay, so there's that. May I remind our listeners and viewers that we're also in the midst of the Atlantic hurricane season. And while we're celebrating, be mindful of what can happen. We boast every year that we're blessed when certain weather system bypasses us here in the Federation. We're lucky. Had a conversation recently about being blessed when we hear other territories are being affected by hurricanes, and we say, oh, we're blessed. No, we're lucky this time around. We are only lucky this time around. Hopefully, we continues to, to get spared by the hurricanes, but should we get impacted, the person that we would have helped, they of course would be in a position to help us in return. Let me see, the colonizers owe us reparation, but I have no regrets for my Afro-Caribbean roots. I salute that. This contributor writes, the colonizers owe us reparation, but I have no regrets for my Afro-Caribbean roots. Without them, we would not have the unique status of we have today. Let me continue. Our challenge is to build a strong region and connect with our African roots and be able to engage better on the international circuit. Now, are we saying that we are glad that the slave masters brought us out here? I don't think our ancestors would reflect that sentiment based on what they went through, had to go through, the atrocities perpetrated on them. We are the offspring, and our job is to build and honor them. And that's what we're doing. After emancipation, we assimilated. We had to adopt or die, pushing boulders uphill in order to maintain our humanity. So we owe this to ourselves, not to any slave master. They didn't create any opportunity for us. We had to create for ourselves. We were dropped, as one put it, in the water and forced to learn to swim. So it's a tribute to our people's resilience, our sense of pride and survival skill that we should be beholden to. Those who sacrificed for us, those who paved the way for us, those who bled and died, so we can celebrate today. I will not attribute any of our accomplishments to any slave master bringing us here. No way, no day, not a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because on the continent, you can still see evidence of their necks, of the knees and the necks of Africans. So to say that, okay, we are happy to have been spared that. No. What's happening now in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, is they saying to France and the Western powers, enough. We need you to get out. 85% of our resources you're collecting, bleeding us dry. Our youth, our future is destitute. They're jumping on boats because China, who we're told is helping Africa, they're fishing, the fishers are depleting the stock of fish in in Senegal. So those guys are fleeing to create a livelihood for themselves, rushing to Europe, becoming refugees, being insulted, being mistreated. But if they were allowed to live in their own space, use their own resources, not survive on 50% of the resources, when 85% goes to build the West, that has to stop. At this point, I'm going to pause for a few kind words from our sponsors, and we return with the lines open to get a feedback from the public. Thank you.
Are you ready for the summer? Need a plan like no other. Stay connected when you're on the go.
Sign up for internet and get 1 month free, plus a chance to pay $0 for the rest of the year. Plus, get a chance to win free data, gas vouchers, $500 cash weekly, grocery vouchers, Fed tickets, and more.
Switch over to Flow.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste.
Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Good morning to our viewers and listeners around the globe. The lines are now open. As I'm told, there's a call-in line. So good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Missed by... Get a chance, please. Okay, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're live on Voices.
For morning, greeting, Brother King.
Morning to you, sir. How are you?
No, you don't adjust me. I'll say you know who I am. My name is Ras Aya. How your morning going?
Wonderful, sir.
Not so he's a slave, I mean, not slave, I'm revolutionary.
Go ahead, make your point.
And while we are at it, we would like to say good morning to your listeners via radio and internet. And I'm here under the gazebo. We'd like to extend both the wishes to Dumpling, Lady Manon, so
yes.
Our song was yesterday. And may she live to see many more with the love of the Almighty. And all who born song was yesterday and who is a September month. May the love of the Almighty guide them humbly and wise with their life going forward. But I heard you make some good statement referencing and about the way we had impacted towards the 40 years of our state, as we call an independence nation. Because when we look at it, we not even have nothing changed yet in the full aspect of we saying we are the ones who are governing our affairs. Let us look in the serious context of what we are saying we're governing in our affairs. Everything has to go in legislation, right? In considering as law. When you're saying in law-making aspect, who the signatory is confined by a Governor General?
The Queen representation.
And who the representation of the cook up in England, right?
That you can put it that
so
way?
Yes, who is the representation of the cook up in England? Because that's what the context of the head of state means. Representing the head of state of the king or the queen of once before under the tutelage of that magnitude. So basically, we're not really moving nowhere. And that is what I say. I'm saying it because I need somebody to explain something. I say it because I see it in what he was not basically given the genesis of what the ancestors them fought for. And you spoke about our ancestors. You give emphasis about even the context of how we're looking at formulating ourselves, saying that we have a twin island state, but we have a beautiful island, but we don't formulate and safeguard our country as we're supposed to. Because we let party politics come and divide us in our farm now.
We're still very tribal.
Folks in control.
People will always be tribal.
Yeah, but we can't be foolish neither. What about that?
That is true.
Okay, because we know the emphasis that there's about negotiating and being betterment for the future of the nation, not for what we can gain, but what can we give to our nation next stepping forward. Okay. Because that's how we Africans always have to develop. But chewing up the ego, we are let our gongs go to despair because we want control instead of guide our young ones them. Is there any time to want to control our people? The only control can be possible by within is the Almighty because He controls everything around here. But he asks us to be loving and caring to this world, and up to now we do the right thing for that. You see? The 40 years of what the so-called get from that criminal up in England need to go change and come back. And that is the facts me I talk about, not no make believe. Because no, the wall house them in this sense, and the little stipend with them boy who said they get to college and university and they come back and then they come back what they do what? They implement the structure of what the university give them, not the common what the people have.
The university.
But anyway,
we
left it here for the time because our people need to be educated properly, not foolishly, because it's time now we know who we are and that's what they want us to be. That's what Marley said, give thanks.
Respect that. I just learned a new phrase. The university is university, only from Russia. And my friend, she writes, 40 years is a good foundation for building a stronger, resilient federation. I concur. And what Mr. Caller earlier, we're still waiting for others to call in and convey, share their point of view in terms of what we would achieve so far, what they feel about our independence celebration, etc. The cook in England, that also tickled someone's fancy. So yes, we identify as a people. I mentioned the word tribes. We are very tribal when it comes to our politics and our polarization, that we are. And though we gathered to celebrate our 40th independence anniversary celebration, there were still fractions as to point of view, what happened, who started it, who should be given certain status. We're still very tribal, and this is really sad, because what it comes down to is features of selective history. Our history should be told in its totality, and everyone who made a contribution should be acknowledged for the role they would have played in the development of our country. But the party politics speak to our sense of tribalism that has destroyed at that time. We condemn in other societies. I mentioned earlier, throughout the region, after emancipation, in our own space, respective spaces, we created tribes. And we took labels. We are Jamaicans, we are Barbadians, we are Trinidadians, we are Antiguans, we're not Africans. And then we have this whole, okay, let's take this caller. Caller live on Voices, go right ahead. Missed that caller. If you get a chance, please try again. Straight to the phone lines, caller live on Voices.
Good morning, the King.
Good morning, sir. How about thou?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad for my age.
You're copying my line, Carl Brown. But anyway, go ahead. It's good to hear your voice. I haven't heard you for some time. What's going on with you?
Oh, I'm here, the King. I just, although I retire, I'm still doing some small little business out
Did you
for
get an award?
myself in my own.
Did you get a national
So,
award?
I'm busy on a daily basis, with a 1 or 2 little small jobs here and there.
Count the
The
blessings
government
first.
is not giving me no permission to make another contribution by being an employer now and open up small business to employ people.
Say again? The government
I
is
said,
not
though
giving
the
you...
government knocking me about,
Uh-huh.
I have approached them to open small business to make another contribution now in my retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And they are treating me like, I come from Mars or Jupiter, one of those places.
First question, are you compliant with all the regulations?
Yes, I have gone to all the meetings. I have approached them and outlined my businesses to them, and they're not making no time for me, so not even in a one-on-one.
Okay.
Not even in a one-on-one.
This is the famous Carl Brown?
Yes,
Why did you do so?
and I just done the 27 years and 3 months serving the Federation.
I thought you would have gotten an award.
I wanted to do, they called me to a ceremony several months ago, and they give me a nice little plaque.
Okay.
They had a little award ceremony for a number of us who retired.
Okay.
I have the plaque right home here on my table. Very nice indeed, a very nice glass plaque.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and saying how much years I did and thanking me for my contribution, which was very nice.
In the health sector?
And,
In the health sector.
In the health sector, yes.
Okay.
And I saw both countries of the Federation.
I mean both countries of the Federation. What are you talking about?
St. Kitts and Nevis. I saw
Both islands.
St. Kitts and Nevis all the years.
Both islands. It can be both
Islands.
countries.
That's what I said, both islands in the Federation.
Okay.
Yeah. But the problem I'm having with them, so you hear them talking about small business, that's a lie. I could give you names and numbers of people who have come to me since I have been applying since under Unity,
Okay.
and under this government.
So
and
you
since
applied
then,
under
the
Unity.
amount of people have approached me and shown me plans and designs and things where they have approached this government. And the people in the departments, spinning them like a fan blade or a Ferris wheel.
Let me get this clear. You said you've been applying since Unity. That's over a year ago.
Yes,
Is that correct?
since the time of Unity.
So were they giving you...
All the Unity people, all the Unity former and present ministers knows about my plans and things. Because I have approached them one-on-one. I have approached them in meetings. I have approached them in town hall meetings. I went to one-on-one with them, and all of them claim it is a beautiful plan and it will work. But nobody giving me no permission to start.
Okay.
This government permanent secretary in sustainable development promised me land, tell me come to her because I went to meetings where she was sitting in, and she heard and she said it's a beautiful plan. Very nice. Come to me, I'll give you some land. When I go on to her now, she tell me don't sit down. She ain't have no land to give me. I must apply to NAC.
When you went, she told her not to sit down.
Tyson Dua, who is the permanent secretary of sustainable development.
You don't need to call names, but I understand. You understand the passion.
No, people have to know these things because when people hear talking, people think you ain't going to the work. You just want to get up and knock up something off your own. I have been to meetings at IT.
I don't want to give you a Fergie.
I have been to agricultural meetings because it pertains to agriculture also.
What I'm saying.
And it going to blend good with tourism.
Stick up in, they call. Right? Why you said don't call names? I don't want to have to give you a Fergie. What Fergie used to say?
I can't substantiate that.
Correct. So, at the same time, I understand what you're saying.
You sing this song.
I know that's what I'm saying. We don't want to expose yourself and the radio station to any lawsuits. So, it's sufficient that you say the permanent secretary or whatever, but to call names is taking it a bit far. I understand what you're saying. You have your facts and your figures prepared to show. We do not have that. So I don't want to give you a Fergie.
I have gone to a number of ministers, and they are telling me, oh, that is nothing to do with my ministry. No, if I approach a number of ministers, and this got something to do which will fall under some of their ministry, why don't you take my situation to Monday Parliament and say, listen, we have a young man or middle-aged man just retire from the civil service. He have approached a number of us, and I'm sure a number of you all in here could say, you hear the guy, you have seen the guy. And he plans to do A, B, C, or D. Why don't we sit down and discuss, all of us, and make a little preparation to help to assist the young man to get his thing up and going? That is our government function.
Make up your mind, Carl Brown. You say
you don't tell people, this ain't on my ministry. And go there. And when you go there, they say, go over there. When you go over there, they say, go down there. When you go down there, they say, go across there. When you go across there, they say, go. That's how they got you like a fan blade and a Ferris wheel to start a small business. Wow. And they say they're interested in entrepreneurship. And they want small business to think. And the thing is all they're doing having a lot of photo shoot like a bunch of young girls and saying they have all these plans and all these projects. But people who want to kick off a start and hire some people to get a little ease off of you. It's them the people you should be assisting. Because your project, them, you're there saying all the time, all the plans have drawn, all the plans can take 9 months to draw. The caveat and all them things have to do, testing of soil and all them things have to do. So you way down the road, somebody who could start in 3 months and less, who can hire a couple of people. That's a ease off the state and off the government, as we just say.
Yeah, as you've explained it. I hope that this hearing, this outcry, can reach the relevant persons.
I have been to several media. I have been to several ministers. I have been to town hall meetings. I explained it to them. I have been into government ministries, and every time they hear the plans, all of them say it's a beautiful plan.
So what's your next step?
It will be a successful plan, but none of them assisting.
What's your next step?
Well, my next step, I turn around and I counteract that, I'm now doing some landscaping and painting.
You remember Bubba Oates?
Yes, man. That was my good
What did
friend.
he do?
I used to go at his place in Taylor's and sit and talk with him.
What did he do?
And I talked with him many times in town and so.
What did he do? When he was faced with similar situation, what did he do? Did he just take the land and fence it?
Well, you see, now, I went to meetings where they sit with me and gave me a letter and tell me if I add anything to my present structure, they rip it down.
I see.
They demolish it.
So there should
I
be...
I have taken that letter to a number of museums. And listen here, I go to them. They tell me, send a copy of my plan. I send a copy. Me and my architect carrying a copy of my plan, right, of what I want to do, right? Write for permission to get permission to start the business. You know, when they call me in meeting, a board, 3 members of a whole board call me in a meeting. Sit with them, they say it's a wonderful plan. Nice idea, Mr. Brown, but your project is on hold because your project is too big. These are what they're sitting and telling you in meeting.
Well, I could only wish you the best success. Sometimes you have to keep pushing the boulder up the mountain. It's very difficult. But that's what I do.
You know Carl Brown, when Carl Brown starts a project, he don't give up on it.
All right.
He just ways to counteract and move around that.
But in the meantime, you're singing...
And then when they see your project start, them is the same people now who going to come when your project up and running and probably want to be shareholders, want to join in your business. But now to give the start while they're in position, they're not doing that,
Quitters never win.
None of their friends with money come up with the idea, and it's not a foreign investor.
Quitters never win. Winners never quit. Keep trying. So you believe in your project?
That's
your
right,
project?
my boy.
Keep on keeping
I want to talk that we move from independence, now state, to what we just call it here.
Republic?
Well, republic.
Okay.
Dr. Drew has talked about it in his campaign. And he has talked about it since he has been in government. But I thought this 40th anniversary, a number of ministers give speech. I thought they would have been discussing that within the next 5 years we will proceed to see that we become a republic and move over from under the king, because this is 2 kings now we have been under, and move, we were under a queen for almost 100 years.
Who's the second king? You said 2 kings.
Remember he had the king before the queen,
George?
Yeah, George and all of them there. We may not, remember we always under them,
Okay. The British monarchy.
She was over us for almost 100 years.
The British
And now
monarchy,
we
I
have a
understand.
king again. So when are we going to move out from under them and come a republic?
Well, I think it's
Other countries
easier
are
said
going,
than
by
done.
2025, a number of Caribbean countries are going to be marched forward into the process of becoming a republic.
Okay.
Well,
Well, okay, thank you very much for contribution. Any other callers standing by? Okay, I was going to say that maybe the reason why nothing was mentioned is because it's not on the table. They're not ready for that discussion as yet. Changing our status from the current one to being a republic is a lot easier said than done. Caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Give me just a second. I didn't ask you.
Hello there, are you there?
Hi, the king. Morning.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Yes, it's good that Carbon wants to see the Republic and others want to see the Republic. And we are hoping that next time around we would become the Republic status.
Okay.
I think they are working on it. I don't know the timeline, but I think they're working on it. So the plans are, hey, have a pomp and ceremony for the 40th, and then we can go into a Republic status the next time around.
Is that
What are
inside
your thoughts
information? Is that the plans are? Do you have inside information?
No, but
Okay. You're guesstimated.
my feet, my ears to the ground, and we know that is something that we cannot. Bearing in mind, we were the last that became what we have now.
Yes.
From 1623 is a long time, right?
The first to be colonized, the last to achieve independence.
Yes. So why not we assert ourselves to become that? I want to dive west a little bit though and go into what we're talking about otherwise. And this is good because, you see, we take our ancestors lightly. We think that they're dead and gone. But the Bible says, honor your mother and your father so that your days might be long. I did not give a timeline as to when to honor and when not to stop honor them. For me, that honoring is a lifetime honor. So all of my forebearers, if all the Christian sisters and brothers who have otherwise, they read about Jesus' ancestry in the first chapter in Matthew. Yeah?
Yeah, I'm following you.
They
Go ahead.
read about it. So you see, everyone has ancestry and everyone is proud of theirs. But I am proud of mine also. So as often as they read the Bible, they read of Jesus and his ancestry. And they don't get tired of it. As they go to the churches at Sundays, you see, the pastor will say, take out your Bible to Matthew chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
And they will read about Jesus and his ancestry. Kudos to that. But I will never forget mine, and I will always want to remember them. In fact, one of my endeavors is to really build an altar. I know there are certain things that I have to put on my altar, including a Bible, a religious document, because that's where it came from. And then, the candle and the incense and some of the precious stone, because it has to be the four elements, water, wind, earth, and fire. That's what our bodies were made of.
That's correct.
And so, but when it comes to Niger, though, Niger is making a good move because you realize they raised the price for the uranium, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard news out of Mali, though, in which it wasn't comforting enough. They have only decided and agreed on 30% of those countries, those companies that was exploiting their gold for all these years. I would have gone for 70% because those companies are smiling. And that is what will cause agitation in the countries. Because 30% cannot dig the Malian people out of the hole. They're still in the red, so to speak.
Well, ECOWAS have to...
70%.
ECOWAS, of course, the West is behind them and advising them as to how to deal with the issue with Niger. What I'm saying now. Sorry, I'm going to
ECOWAS
fast
is a
forward.
block by itself, but the
Yeah, but the
African Union
advisors-
has already made a different decision.
Mm-hmm.
The African Union has to give the green light to ECOWAS for ECOWAS to do anything, and the African Union has not agreed on doing anything. So ECOWAS is some of the Francophone countries and some of the former British colonies. You see, it is a dynamic over there. Whereas when Kwame Nkrumah had said unity now, a lot of the Francophone countries agreed with France. They did not even support Algeria against Kwame Nkrumah, and some of the other countries have supported Algeria for their struggle. Remember, Algeria wasn't a part of it as yet. But some of the Francophone countries that are trying to shut off the thing now, the neo-colonialism now, in which they rightly should, but there was the one who were independent, and they just stuck up for a lot of things.
You made my point.
Which Kwame Nkrumah was settling for. Africa now. So it's like trying to reinvent the wheel. It is tough to do that, because look at some countries as opposed to some other countries. The progression. Some countries, I can make mention of Kenya. The progression that they have made coming from a British domain as opposed to the Francophone domain, or the Lusophone or the Anglophone, all of these phones that we use. Okay? Look at some of their progression. Even though you have neo-colonialism in its subtle form still in some of those countries, but yet they had made strides, as opposed to some of those Francophone countries that had given France 85% of their resources. And for Mali to say, no, I'm going to settle for 30% of the companies. Remember, France had the monopoly on what company? They had the first right of refusal.
Yes, but that's what they're trying to change. They have to change all the structure. They have to break it down. They have to break down all that thing.
Agree. But at the same time, the war will continue. Agree. And so solidarity to that struggle. All not going to move simultaneously together. But we will show solidarity. But that does not say you're going to reinvent the wheel. Because some people is of the notion that is the only unity in Africa. I beg to differ. Because there are other countries that are making a concerted effort, and numbers count. You have a 54 grouping, and 5 of them, for whatever reason, they're still struggling to shrug off colonialism. What must the other 49 do?
Well, what you do, you start the parade, people will follow you. They want to see your success story, and then they will join. Remember, and this is the most fundamental, the leaders in the past, and not too distant past, who have taken those steps have all been assassinated. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
They have all been assassinated. Coup staged against them. All orchestrated by the West.
Yes. And we continue to speak, because in spite of that, you're hearing the voices. They're still speaking in spite of the fear of getting killed. We're not fearful anymore. They was not fearful before, and we are not now. More so, we are not now, because freedom by any means necessary. And so,
sadly,
the voices that are speaking now, they're going to continue to speak. You can hear what William Ruto said about, well, we saw the G20 now. The African Union is accepted as one body. They had this Assembly of the United Nations where, they're talking about climate change. They have to fast forward that because, like I say, everyone is going to be affected. And you saw the earthquake and the disaster in Libya and Morocco simultaneously.
Okay. All right. We got about 7 minutes.
More so than anybody.
We got about 7 minutes before we close the first half, so we will give a caller a chance to get in. All right? Hope to continue with you after. Okay, so we got about 7 minutes before we close the first half of today's presentation. We're going to keep the lines open, see if we can entertain a call or two before we get to the point. And the whole thing was on the heels of our 50th independence anniversary, what it means to us, etc. Of course, we digress. We're discussing other matters. It's called Voices, etc. Chris Collins, Okay, we take this caller. Caller, you live on Voices. Good, the caller, you live on Voices.
Hey, good morning, King. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad. I just come from the hills, just don't look for the animals then.
Beautiful.
No, the king, first, I always want to thank God, thank the Father God for life, and thank God for the Federation of Think It Nevis, a fertile country. I believe that here, we as black people get to own a piece of the rock. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
No, King, I believe after 40 years of independence, I believe that we ordinary people like me and Carl Brown who are interested in a piece of land to farm or do whatever. And other farmers work there.
Mm-hmm.
Who got animals, people like me who got livestock animal and who used to do ground farming. After that sugar industry closed, I believe that if them land they get out in the right place and the right people, especially some of the farmer sugar workers, I believe that we would not have a problem with the land problem. We like a land to farm, we like a land to build upon, we got a land to do everything because we could afford to feed ourselves. We don't even have to depend on tourists as much.
That much, okay.
You understand?
Got you.
But we know what we got the tourists because we in a climate change world now, with our kind of thing now, and we ain't getting the amount of rain how we're supposed to get. You understand?
Got you.
I believe nothing. We got a lot of young millionaires in this country, employing one people, and I do not believe that. I mean, I say that nobody must come in, like the Guyanese, the Jamaican, and everything. But I believe that people, because we here go to different countries and work too. But I believe that if the government did take we people into consideration and give out some land to us, to the, you see, look at this thing they call pepper and step.
Mm-hmm.
We had some land, can you remember long time back in the 70s and the 80s, we used to have, when the soil and knuckle used to be around,
Mm-hmm.
they used to plant nuts, they used to plant sweet potato, and all these things. So we had sugar cane, we had nuts, we had sweet potato. We used to transport sweet potato down to St. Thomas, Antigua.
Export.
And part of the Tatol and the other part of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do all that. All these things could have taken place if government after government come in and had any good intention about agriculture and all those things. I believe that we'll be rich off of our own
quickly.
But what happens, the king?
Here's what.
Government people to bring in a white man or somebody in a jacket and toy to come invest. And when they come invest now, they start to use our money in our bank. When they're supposed to bring the money
Here's a question.
in the country and use the money.
You got a point.
You understand?
Mm-hmm. Do you remember when Lindsey Grant said that they would close the sugar industry and would share the land amongst the population? You recall that?
Yes. You like sugar workers
and they voted against it? The people voted against that?
I remember people make a mock at him too. People make a mock at him.
Yep.
They make a mock at him, say, ho. You mean you could give Father all the land them?
They were advised to close the sugar industry and diversify. One person said that the sugar industry would close over his dead body. And they said, yeah. And what happened? So the people get played.
Sugar industry closed and the man body still there.
As one Calypsonian put it, only the grass get trampled when elephants fight. Thus, Carl Brown is crying out, you have your need for land to expand on your little farm, etc. This is what happens. You know?
The thing I got so now with it here because if I'm animal in me right now, it's fan land, people land we don't get out.
Mm-hmm.
And people building, every minute somebody coming here and building, And every minute somebody complaining, say me animal coming in there and bucking up the point because everybody can't fence at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
And, you see, because it's we. That's why I tell you I'm done with the blind politics.
Okay.
It's we. And
We
if we continue to go down that road of party politics, and whoever gets in government doing good, are they doing bad? And you don't want to come out and say that this government is doing the wrong thing or whatever.
okay,
You're
Mr.
gonna suffer the
Politics.
consequence.
Mr.
All right,
Politics.
then you got to follow,
Yes,
yeah?
we gotta go now because it's time for the midday newscast, and we're still getting contribution. Well, we have someone who writes, "We can't live without tourism." I'm not arguing that point. I think that is an essential part of foreign revenue. Oh no, it's actually St. Kitts Nevis is the #1 foreign revenue earner. So we appreciate the value that it brings to our country. You know, no one territory in the region can survive off agriculture alone. But that's a different discussion for perhaps after the midday newscast. We'll pause now for that and see you guys on the other side.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With the Win FM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Yulana Weeks.
Our top stories: Blake brothers charged for murder at gas station.
Dr. Joyelle Clark speaks at United Nations SDG Summit 2023, says the Federation is on its way to becoming the first sustainable island state in the Caribbean.
The International Monetary Fund warns that global debt levels are returning to pre-pandemic trends. CARICOM says it remains firm in its support of SDGs while expressing challenges to achieving those goals. Internationally, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa called for the global community to support the African Union's efforts against unconstitutional changes on the continent. Now the details. Danny Blake, 21, and Elvis Blake, 22, both of New Pond Site, St. Kitts, were arrested and charged for the murder of Kevon Smithen of New Road. On September 11th, 2023, 24-year-old Kevon Smithen was killed while working at a gas station in Bastille. On September 15th, the police apprehended the brothers after a wanted bulletin was previously issued for the Blakes. Both men were charged on September 18th.
On the eve of St. Kitts and Nevis' independence celebration, the minister responsible for sustainable development, environment, climate action et al., Dr. Joyelle Clark, made a presentation at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals SDG Summit 2023 in New York. Having adopted the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals, St. Kitts and Nevis has been on a journey to becoming the first sustainable island state in the Caribbean, Clark declared. She enlightened the delegation about some of the major priorities areas that the country has been focused upon.
Our priority areas for investment and policy changes include renewable energy and geothermal. The transformation of the energy sector aligns with our NDC commitments with investments in geothermal in Nevis and solar energy in St. Kitts to construct one renewable grid connecting two islands. Water security. Important for us is balancing the water, energy, food nexus, which is fundamental to our economic transformation. The commitment will be met through continued public-private partnerships in desalination. Food security. We adopted the CARICOM 25 by 2025 initiative in our agriculture and fisheries sector to reduce food imports by 25% by the year 2025. Digital public infrastructure. Accelerated investments in digital infrastructure are improving connectivity, public and private sector productivity, and the digital economy.
According to Clark, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has taken a people-centered approach by providing social and financial safety nets for the people.
We remain committed to leaving no one behind, with a progressive agenda for people-first transformation in comprehensive access to health care, equity in education, targeted social protection, and workers' rights. We are at the vanguard of regional progress in all the SDGs related to people, largely due to our multidimensional approach to poverty reduction via a comprehensive mapping of the vulnerability landscape and expanding economic transformation.
Though St. Kitts and Nevis has made significant progress since the launch of the United Nations Sustainable Island Goals in 2015, Dr. Clark expressed that international intervention and support is needed to help all small island developing states to achieve the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Goals agenda.
St. Kitts and Nevis is a success story in spite of and due to our small size. International support for the SDG agenda is a must. We call for and support the call for innovative financial instruments, predictable climate finance, debt relief, concessional financing, centering of justice, amplifying of the voices of the smallest nations and the most vulnerable people, the promotion of equity, and the increase in political will and solidarity amongst all global stakeholders planet-wide. By pursuing these priorities collaboratively With increased ambition and determination, we will attain our sustainable island state, thus guaranteeing a more equitable future.
A press release from the United Nations states that, quote, at the midpoint of SDG implementation, the SDGs are in peril, end quote. Speaking at the SDG Summit 2023, Antonio Guterres, the United Nations Secretary General, explained to the delegation the grim reality that the world faces today and the need for an SDG global rescue plan.
8 years ago, member states gathered in the hall to adopt the Sustainable Development Goals. With the world watching, including 193 young people in the balcony holding blue lamps of hope, you made a solemn promise. A promise to build a world of health, progress, and opportunity for all. A promise to leave no one behind. And a promise to pay for it. This was not a promise made to one another as diplomats from the comfort of this chamber. It was always a promise to people. People crushed under the grinding wheels of poverty. People starving in a world of plenty. Children denied a seat in a classroom. Families fleeing conflict, seeking a better life. Parents watching helplessly as their children die of preventable disease. People losing hope because they can't find a job or a safety net when they need it. Entire communities literally on devastation's doorstep because of changing climate. So the SDGs aren't just a list of goals. They carry the hopes, dreams, rights, and expectations of people everywhere. And they provide the surest path to living up to our obligations under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, now in its 75th year. Yet today, only 15% of the targets are on track, and many are going in reverse. Instead of leaving no one behind, we risk leaving the SDGs behind. So, Excellencies, the SDGs need a global rescue plan.
In regional news, the International Monetary Fund warns that global debt levels are returning to pre-pandemic trends. CARICOM says it remains firm in its support of SDGs while expressing challenges to achieving those goals. Carib Update has those reports and more.
The International Monetary Fund is warning that global debt levels are returning to their pre-pandemic trend, threatening debt sustainability in some countries. In a recent report published by the global body as part of its debt database, data shows total debt stood at 238% of GDP in 2022. The figure is 9 percentage points higher than 2019, though it has come down sharply from its peak of 258% in 2020. The IMF says the world has been on a debt roller coaster for 3 years, but debt is likely to rise again over the medium term. It is urging governments to adopt strategies to help reduce debt vulnerabilities, both in public debt, household debt, and non-financial corporate debt. The 15-member CARICOM grouping on Monday said it remains firm in its support for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, even as it expressed concerns at some of the hindrances to achieving the United Nations mandate by 2030. Addressing the high-level political forum on the SDG summit at the UN, Dominica's President Charles Savary said CARICOM's position on the path towards achieving the SDGs has been clearly outlined in several debates and intergovernmental negotiations under the auspices of the United Nations.
We firmly believe that a greater commitment, solidarity, and transformative action are needed to achieve the set targets within a realistic time frame.
He said the summit here provides a unique opportunity to fundamentally adjust the trajectory of all member states to take positive action towards its implementation. Savary and CARICOM endorses the political declaration set out by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in a renewed call for all member states to recommit towards this transformative process.
The existential threat of COVID-19 over the last 3 years, exacerbated by the impact of climate change and war in Ukraine, calls for even greater leadership at the multilateral level. Therefore, what is required is a surge in commitments for governments and other stakeholders to take implementation of the SDGs to the next level. To this end, decisive action must be taken to better support developing countries through long-term lending at lower interest rates, debt relief, and the creation of a robust and effective sovereign debt resolution mechanism.
A few days after Hurricane Lee swept past Bermuda as a Category 1 storm, knocking out power across the island and closing businesses and schools, residents are keeping a close eye on the passage of Hurricane Nigel. The National Hurricane Center says Hurricane Nigel is forecast to rapidly intensify into a major hurricane on Tuesday. The storm is about 1,510 kilometers east-southeast of Bermuda, with sustained maximum winds of 130 kilometers per hour. There are no coastal watches or warnings in effect. An effort to temporarily transfer over 60 disabled Haitian children at an orphanage to safety in Jamaica due to escalating gang violence reportedly remains deadlocked. The head of Haiti's Child Welfare Agency is opposed to the move, and Prime Minister Ariel Henry has not responded to requests to intervene. Located in the rural town of Akachai on Haiti's coast, Haiti Children is in the midst of several heavily armed warring gangs. Co-founder of the orphanage, Susie Karbacha, says in recent weeks the gangs have cut off safe passage, kidnapped staff, and invaded the facility, threatening to put the kids out of their misery. The main opposition party in Guyana, a Partnership for National Unity, APNU, has called for the removal of Vice President Bharat Jagdeo from the oil and gas portfolio following confusion over a key audit which saw the Ministry of Natural Resources going beyond what had been recommended by the Guyana Revenue Authority. In a statement Monday, APNU said that Guyanese are alarmed over the news of what it called the government's flagrant and scandalous mishandling of the audit of ExxonMobil's expenditure for the period 1999 to 2017. It charged that the explanation offered by Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat and Vice President Jagdeo exposed their ineptitude and dereliction.
We now bring you these international reports.
As a global community, we should be concerned by the recent incidents of unconstitutional changes of government in some parts of Africa.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa called for the global community on Tuesday to support the African Union's peace efforts on the continent.
The African Union Peace and Security Council has declared that it stands ready to deepen its cooperation with the UN Security Council to silence the guns on the African continent and to achieve peace and stability and development.
His statement at the United Nations General Assembly came after a military takeover in Gabon last month when officers announced election results were annulled, minutes after President Ali Bongo was declared to have won a third term. And in July, members of Niger's Presidential Guard detained President Mohamed Bazoum inside his palace and seized power. There have been 8 coups in 3 years in West and Central Africa. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu, who chairs the main West African bloc ECOWAS, told the UN General Assembly that he was seeking to re-establish constitutional order in Niger.
Military coups are wrong. As in any titled civilian political arrangement that is, will perpetuate injustice. The wave-crossing part of Africa does not demonstrate favor towards coup. It is a demand for solution to perennial problem. Let us dig it deeper.
ECOWAS has been trying to negotiate with the Niger military junta. It has said it is ready to deploy troops to restore constitutional order if diplomatic efforts fail. The decision by ECOWAS in August to activate a so-called standby force for a possible intervention has raised fears of an escalation that could further destabilize the insurgency-torn Sahel region. The junta in Niger last month ordered its armed forces to go on highest alert, citing an increased threat of attack.
Keeping the pumps working. Sinopec is the latest entrant to Sri Lanka's fuel sector, and it's wasting no time after securing a license to import, store, distribute and sell fuel. China's second-largest oil and gas producer is one of 3 companies that's being allowed in by the government. It will take over 150 fuel stations from the existing network and invest in opening 50 more.
This competition should be there. Then only now you can see they are selling, I think, 3 rupees less than the actual market price.
The fuel sector was badly affected by Sri Lanka's worst economic crisis in 2022. With the government not having enough dollars to import supplies. Queues stretched up to 10 kilometers in some places, and motorists were forced to wait days to top up. The state operator and the only private operator, the Indian Oil Company, struggled to cope with demand. New entrants in the market have to source their own funds from outside the country.
The government has a problem without enough dollars. Now with Sinopec and these companies paying for petrol and diesel, the government can use its currency for the health sector and other essentials. The customers can buy what they need. We can also order what we want, and there's a discount price as well.
While some people were concerned about privatization of vital state assets, these motorists are happy.
With companies, things will be more competitive. This is the system followed overseas. This hasn't been possible in Sri Lanka due to politics and greed, because there's a bribe to be made from everything. This is the way to get rid of that.
This is a relatively small market for global petrogiants, but analysts say the country's strategic positioning makes it an important place to be, and timing is key.
The best historical opportunity these powers have to get their slice of the pie in Sri Lanka, because a Sri Lanka that has risen, a Sri Lanka that is growing exponentially, I mean, it has the power to maneuver, it has the power to negotiate, but it's at rock bottom. That's when it has no power to negotiate. That's when other people, other powers, other interests can impute terms into the negotiating process.
In addition to the retail market, Sinopec is hoping to secure a $4 billion project to set up a refinery in southern Sri Lanka, where China operates a port.
Opening up the retail market to Sinopec and 2 other international firms will ease the pressure on the government, which has had to spend a large chunk of its income on importing fuel. Consumers are hoping the competition will bring them some benefits. Minel Fernandez, Al Jazeera, Colombo.
The World Health Organization says more than 400 migrants are among those who lost their lives in last week's devastating floods in eastern Libya. Thousands of African and Middle Eastern migrants are temporarily based there, many of them hoping to reach Europe. Well, our correspondent Anna Foster joins us from eastern Libya. And Anna, just tell us more about these comments from the WHO and the wider situation regarding migrants in Libya.
Well, these comments, I think, really add to some of the confusion in a way. It sounds strange to say that, but some of the confusion in terms of how many people have been affected by this disaster in Derna, because it's correct. There are all kinds of different people who are living in Libya at the moment, economic migrants from different places, people who are hoping to potentially travel on to Europe for a better life. There are people from different parts of Africa. But what we find it very hard to know at this stage is really how many of those people have been involved in this. We've seen figures from the Red Crescent and the Red Cross. We've seen figures as well from the United Nations, from OCHA. What we know is that many thousands of people were affected by this. And we know that the slow speed really of managing to recover many of those victims contributes to some of the difficulties in actually identifying a clear death toll, because many of those victims were swept out to sea, and we've seen very sadly, those bodies day after day beginning to wash ashore. But also recovery teams who are working in Derna are continuing to dig through, in some cases, the very high piles of mud and silt that people are buried in, going through buildings that have been destroyed. So all of those things together make it, I think, very difficult to know for quite some time exactly how many people were involved in this and exactly who they were.
And that's surely then compounded by the fact that there is a lack of a true unified national government in Libya to be able to respond to this across the country.
Yeah, that's been a problem from the beginning. In fact, before this disaster even happened, because these years and years of conflict have really taken their toll on Libya's infrastructure. So it meant that in the very first days, they didn't have many of the civil contingencies in place that other countries who hadn't been affected by a long civil war would have. And then when it came, of course, to aid, to rescue teams actually coming into the country, again, that caused a problem because the eastern Libyan authorities are the ones who are not internationally recognised. The internationally recognised government is the one in Tripoli in the west of Libya. But of course, there is so much tension between those two administrations. It made it difficult for some countries in the early days. And in fact, the UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly talked about this on the BBC a few days ago. Difficult to actually coordinate and get access to the country at a time like that. And it means that tensions will continue to be high. We saw some rescue workers, some recovery workers come from west to east. There is now a suggestion that it might be time for them to go back again. Again, all of these things, when you take them together, when you look at the layer upon layer of issues that Libya is having to deal with a natural disaster on top of conflict, it really shows you how difficult this whole situation is to deal with.
And Anna, whilst you've been talking, we've been showing our viewers pictures from the city of Derna. The city has been destroyed. What is the latest on the ground?
Well, in terms of how that city might be rebuilt, people are starting to have those conversations, but that seems to be a really long way in the future. It is still very much about recovery of the victims at the moment on the one side, people doing the best they can to give them some kind of dignity, to also identify bodies through DNA testing where they can, to make sure that if families try to reclaim them in the future, that they would be able to be reunited with their loved ones. And then on the other side of that, you have the need to try and put something in place for the people who survived this. Various international organisations have talked about the fear of disease, the fact that water has been, in some cases, contaminated by, the huge amount of pollution that has been washing around there. So trying to have things like medical care in place, for example, trying to have things like clean running water. We saw a communications cut yesterday. Electricity in some places has begun to be restored. But again, you have this huge ongoing, almost parallel operation to try and make the city as safe and as livable as possible for the people who survived this.
You were listening to the Midday News on WINNFM 98.9. The headlines: Blake brothers charged for murder at gas station.
Dr. Joyelle Clark speaks at United Nations SDG Summit 2023, says the Federation is on its way to becoming the first sustainable island state in the Caribbean.
The International Monetary Fund warns that global debt levels are returning to pre-pandemic trends. CARICOM says it remains firm in its support of SDGs while expressing challenges to achieving those goals. Internationally, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa called for the global community to support the African Union's efforts against unconstitutional changes on the continent. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. DeLille Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hurricane season can be unpredictable, but your business doesn't have to be. In the face of adversity, you need a partner that goes above and beyond. Choose the path of resilience and certainty with C&W Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, C&W Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
Moisture and instability associated with a tropical wave will increase the chance of showers across the area. Today, partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Tonight, partly cloudy with a 60% or moderate chance of showers and a 30% or slight chance of thunderstorms. Sunset today will be at 6:09 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 6:01 a.m. That's your weather forecast for today, which came to the kind compliments of CW Business.
Hurricane season can be unpredictable, but your business doesn't have to be. In the face of adversity, you need a partner that goes above and beyond. Choose the path of resilience and certainty with C&W Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, C&W Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Good afternoon to our listeners and viewers. Welcome back to the second half of today's presentation of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of the program, and I was just joined by the guest for this second segment, However, I know there's a caller who's been trying to get in on the program this morning, actually since Friday. So the lines are open at the moment. If you can get the caller in, we can address his concerns. Also like to say good afternoon to Mr. and Miss, Nigel Williams and his wife Vernie up there in Oklahoma. They sent their greetings and salutations and all that. So, yes, we wait. The lines are open if the caller can make the call now before we get into the second half of the program today. And we had a comment sent by a caller. I want to address that if I can. Where is it? Anyway, it says, this came in before. Imagine the man who could not unify the islands and also who died. Okay, let's see if this is a caller. Good afternoon, caller. You're live on Voices. Good caller. You're live on Voices.
Yes, good afternoon, the King.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. What's up?
Okay, the King. I want to reflect back on something I think I might have mentioned last week, maybe Monday, but I just want to go back to something that I went over the speech by the European politician at the climate summit in Kenya, Ursula von der Leyen. Now, the King, she was telling the African leaders, right, in Kenya, that Europe want to donate $1.5 billion to fight climate change. And now she's asking the African leaders to let Europe be partner with BRICS.
I saw part of it, yes.
You know, I find all of this double standard, right? In the fact for me, sending a woman to talk to the African leaders and the way they sat and listened to her, I don't know what was going through their minds listening to the words that she used to them. And I would say they need to kick her out. They need to get rid of Europe because the very fact that she wants to be partner with BRICS, that is their agenda. And when they come with their agenda, the King, it does not benefit Africans. Now, all along, right, I've said earlier, Clark, that Africa needs to create its own everything. Africa needs to create its own edifice of power, autonomy, and strength. Now, we are seeing what is taking place on the continent. Ramaphosa is standing up, Paul Kagame, and now we have those in the Francophone countries with the military coups. Now, I think it's going to spill over the King. In as much as you and I, and yes, I appreciate the fact that you pointed out Monday that the uranium is now gone to €200. Now, I think they should even sell it for €300 because while France was benefiting from those uranium, let us look at our people who are without electricity in this 21st century, the King. And this is why I'm saying, that because we are in these 6 regions, are we not supposed to be concerned about our brothers and sisters there who have to go down in the mud when they should be in school, creating economics for Europe, France, and they themselves don't have decent drinking water, and that's supposed to be democracy, the King?
Well, it's not. That's why those guys are rebelling, because you have public governments in place.
Yes. Now, you see, and that's the thing, the King, because they have struck fear. They struck fear in our leaders. I mean, sometimes when I see Emmanuel Macron, and it's been all over social media ever so often, where he greets, even when a president walking with a cane, and then the body posture, the body language, when they look up to Emmanuel Macron, it's like they're looking up to God. It is painfully sad, the King. And I have also said in our region here, we need to move away. But we gone and we join to everything that is in European Union. They don't have anything to offer us because they are self. They are all of self, and we need to get out of that. We need to make our connection, and I'm begging the Prime Minister Drew. Let us make connection with our continent. I want to have a conversation with Mrs. Henry. She needs to advise me as to how I can get some of the CVI money to go and invest on the continent, the king.
Did you follow the Caribbean African Summit held about 2 weeks ago?
I'm not hearing you.
Did you follow up on the Caribbean African Summit that took place about 2 weeks ago in Barbados?
No, I didn't. I'm not aware there was one in Barbados, you say?
Yes, I think that's where it was.
No, I think I've seen some of what took place in Cuba. But, you know, the thing is right. The future is there, and we are the future. I keep saying on social media, Africa is the present and the future for all Africans globally.
Okay.
Now we need to make that connection, the king.
All right.
Seriously.
Thank you.
It's our survival. Because everything right now, it's a war, and it's them against us. Don't care how you slice it.
Okay.
They make it that way.
Thank you for your
Thank you
contribution.
for hearing me.
You're very much welcomed. The lines are still open as I introduce our guest for today. Ras Kulunji is with us once again in the studio. Come on, mic up. Mike, what's going on with you?
Yeah, greetings, greetings, my brother. Yes, greetings to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Amiga and Oli. You know, as we said that we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of independence. I don't concur. You can't be celebrating independence when you have to pledge to the King of England, right?
British monarchy.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, you know, we people got to get real. But what I'm saying to you is that what Granny said, stop the killing, we have a nation to build. What Granny said, love one another. What Granny said, respect one another. What Granny said, boy local. What Granny said, support your own. What Granny said, reparation by any means necessary. What Granny said, unity by any means necessary. What Granny says, self-esteem. What Granny says, self-reliance. What Granny says, self-respect. What Granny said, one people, one aim, one destiny. What Granny said, what we want to achieve is unity amongst our people and defend African people's interests. But, Brother Socrates, you know, there have been a lot of chatter before so-called the day of independence and after on the airwaves about independence, right?
Yes.
And who claiming to be the father of independence and who are claiming not to be the father of independence, right? But what I'm saying to you is that on our previous discussion when I show you that when we got adult suffrage in 1952, our colonizers was making sure that we stay divided. And their position was, as long as the politicians are educated along British lines, the British interest will forever long be here. 1,000 years since they gone, if we don't change the situation that we're in.
That is correct, but not to take away from what you're saying, I have an issue with miseducating the youth of the Federation.
That's the truth.
That is my problem.
So that's what we're saying.
For 20 years, when Dr. Douglas was the Prime Minister of this country, the students of this Federation learned nothing about Dr. Simmons' contribution. Deliberately so. Okay?
Yeah, but hear what I'm saying. I'm not going to get into that. Hear my position. My position is that we need to be re-educated. Because, look here, if you're going to go into that debate, the first president of the union, and that was the struggle back then for workers' rights and all these things.
You're
was
talking
Mr.
about Manchester?
Mr. Edgar Challenger.
Challenger, yes, that's correct.
You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to show you this back and
He's actually written out
of
everything.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you now, we at a particular stage, we so-called celebrating the 40th anniversary of independence. I'm saying to you now, we at a particular stage now, where we are saying now, we are calling for atonement in the Christian tradition to atone for our sins, because we have sinned against one another. You see what I'm saying? So we are calling for atonement and we are calling for national reconciliation, a truth and
reconciliation.
Yeah, like what you had in South Africa. To set the stage for the generations yet unborn so that we could be on the right path. So I'm calling for atonement of our people because we have sinned against each other. And that is the reality. So I'm saying to you, we are saying that we're putting the question out there. Are you, as our people, right, for the unification of Africans right here in this country? You for it or are you against it? So when callers call in, we want them to pledge. Are you for us coming together as a people or you want us to stay as the way we are? So any caller that calling, we want you to put that position, to make that position clear. If you for our people coming together, or we want us to stay apart. Because what I'm saying to you, if we stay apart, we're going to be on the wrong path based on the geopolitical situation that we are facing right now. Because you heard on the news that the IMF said that the global economic situation is worse even at the stage when the COVID started. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to show you is that affects our country, the global situation, because like I said, if we are not on a path to determine our destiny in our people's best interest, then if you don't want to come together to unify our people, to rectify these things, then you're against us. It's as simple as that, my brother. You know? So like I said, on the tone, on the path for atonement and reconciliation, unite to reconciliate our situation here in this country where we could discuss and have a debate openly so that we could move our people in a positive way. You know? It's not time for no back and forth. Let's deal with the reality. Be objective in terms of what we're dealing. If you don't want to rectify the disunity among us, then you're against us. It's as simple as that, my brother.
I read something that a country just said. Well, I see the government is resetting all kind of debt owed by our citizens. Yet they refuse to pay citizens who they owe money. 2 years now, are getting the one around and they blaming the liquidator for dying. Well, that's what it says, for dying. And they have a name of a lawyer, one called, searching the globe to get a replacement liquidator for the accountants in the Federation. I'm writing to hear when you will reset the liquidator for the Bank of Commerce funds that many of us have not received 40 years plus. And it goes on and on. So the people with issues over the government position to reinstate the electricity via Skelec, stuff like that. You have us going up and down like fools. You won't cash the checks, and then okay, that's concern of a person. And they said this matter has been going with a certain liquidator since 2021. All right, so there's a concern that I hope I would have done justice to the person concerned. Well, but you, I think, they mean the government or the current Prime Minister, etc. The callers spoke to me during the break. You can still try to get your call in. The lines are open, 6620989, 7620989, and 4660989.
But I forget to mention Marcus of the Woods.
Yes.
You understand? I mean, Better Douglas. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
I know who they are, but in terms of Better Douglas, can you inform the public?
Better Douglas was a sister.
Okay, let's take this call. Sorry about that. Call you live on Voices.
Yes, good afternoon, our host, and to your guest.
Good afternoon. Haven't heard you for a long time. Welcome to the program.
Well, I'm here, but I was just listening to your news here, the news on your station.
Yes, sir.
And it's like, I said, let me call because we're having a United Nations meeting now attended by over 100 countries. So they are meeting to study science, technology, and the indebtedness of the quite a number of countries globally. And so we have our representative there, or we are represented there by made a representation. And so I listened to the Secretary General, Guterres, Mr. Guterres, Secretary. And he said that the world as it stands is in peril. In peril. And I'm not surprised, Socrates, because as one who studied Bible prophecy and looking in recent times of the events of the world on this earth, I was not surprised from that sad news by Secretary General Guterres, in peril. And really and truly, he said that there's no commitment. There are poor commitment made by governments. But, Sako, the governments of the world is hard pressed. Their money they make come from taxes, as well as you might have investment. But you have quite a number, high percentage of rich people, billionaires of the world. And when you read James chapter 5, the very first two or three verses, I'm not near Bible right now, but it tells you what would befall these men and women who have this huge amount of money, hoarding, keeping it to themselves, while according to Secretary Guterres, millions of people are starving, can't go to school, can't get health care. This is the crisis that Jesus Christ in Luke chapter 21, Matthew 24, and Mark 13 stated. And we are celebrating 40 years. I'm going to finish now. 40 years of independence. We have come thus far by faith. And I believe our survival today is mainly by the prayers of our grannies.
Okay.
I heard you just talking about grannies that sent us to 2-3 Sunday school. Our prayers, their prayers sustain us today. No. 40 years is the beginning.
Okay.
And it's not when I look at our place of worship, it's not look too encouraging. And when I look at sport and entertainment, you see where the masses, where the interest lies. I'm not here to condemn. Christ didn't come to condemn. But we have to go back to granny's upbringing. We got to go back to granny's advice for we to be sustained as a nation. Blessed is the nation who God is the Lord. And so, Sacro, in the States now, you have the workers who manufactures these vehicles. The workers is on strike. Why are they on strike? Because these rich people, rich owners, do not want to get them an increase. No, they are making millions of dollars on the back of these workers.
It's called capitalism and exploitation.
And it come back to the bit what I told you about what would be the end result of these rich people. Okay. It wouldn't be easy. Jesus said, go to now, weep and howl for the miseries that shall come upon you. For you have heaped treasures together in the last days. They have more money than the governments of the world. And they're keeping it to themselves. And the Bible said it would happen. So now these workers striking into the United States. And President Biden appealing to them, say, man, you all could afford to give these people an increase. Look at the millions you all are making. So I want to say this to our nation at 40 years. Yeah? Look up to God, from whence cometh our help. Granny say our help cometh from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Granny say, let us get back to our first love. For this 40 years, a new beginning.
Okay.
Can't rely on the government.
Thank you much.
Secretary General, whatever said.
Okay,
He
sir.
said the government is under extreme pressure. And where these millionaires and billionaires are concerned, they couldn't kill us. So, you have climate change that is taking a toll. Look at the earthquakes. Look at the floods. Devastating some of these countries. Some of them are poor. Won't be able to help themselves in the future. But the Lord is with us so far, so good. And that's why Granny says, we must continue to serve our God, our ancestors, for these 40 years onward. Thank you very much, Sako.
In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you very much for that contribution. Okay, let's see. You've been searching for the last 5 minutes. What was it you can't find?
No, I was looking for the description of atonement.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, where we
You're preaching atonement.
Yeah.
And reconciliation.
Yeah.
At the end of 40 years.
I'm saying to you that is the part that we should be on. And if we're not on that part, then you're against us. It's as simple as that. There's no more need for any argument, because what I'm trying to show
Who's you against us? Who's you?
But what I'm saying to you, if you don't want to be on a part to defend African people's interests, our people, especially here in the Federation, then you're against us. You're either with Ali Bongo or Bazoum. Because look what is happening. I heard you when you opened this morning, you was talking about some guy calling and said that he glad that he came to these parts.
No, he was thanking the slave masters.
Yes.
For bringing us here.
Exactly.
Because we're in this fertile land with all the resources and so beautiful here in St. Kitts. And he reflected on how Africa is reflected today.
Yeah.
The poverty and the wars and that. So we are blessed.
But look here, France don't want to leave
I know.
Niger, but he don't know that. France, no, we people don't want to do nothing with Africa. We don't want to associate with Africa, right? We don't want nothing to do with Africa because it's a poverty.
France and the Western world know where they don't want to get
They
out.
don't want to leave. They say, look here, Sarkozy, the president of France, said that he's not respecting the junta because the junta has no authority to tell them to leave.
Is it Macron at the moment?
Macron in France, but the ambassador from France is in Niger. And he don't want to leave.
He refused to leave.
Yeah, he refused to leave. But look at that. No, we know.
When people want them to leave, they're saying they don't want to leave because they're aligned with Bazoum, the former democratically elected, and they don't. That was the same thing that Reagan them tried with Bishop in Grenada.
But not only that, look, okay, we're dealing with democracy, right?
Uh-huh.
President Aristide was democratically elected. And he was...
You're speaking of the hypocrisy.
Yeah, that's what I'm...
Let's see what's called up to contribute. Call 11 voices. Okay, last caller? Okay. Your point is valid. Very, very poignant. It's the hypocrisy. They flew in, took him out, a democratically elected person.
Kidnapped him.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And then impose a perpetuation.
Yeah, and then we're going to tell we that we only respect democratically elected people. President Aristide was democratically elected twice, and he was removed twice.
Mm-hmm.
So let us examine, let's say here, democracy, what it means. A political unit that has a democratic government, right? Now, democracy now, when we look at our people's situation, we live in a so-called democratic country. But we're not talking about African liberation. So I pose the question, whether you want democracy or African liberation. We have a caller?
Not at the moment, continue.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that we have to make a choice. African liberation deals with restoring our people to their traditional greatness before we were invaded, right, and conquered and brought to the West, or even the Berlin Conference when Africa was subdued in 1884. So I'm saying to our people, we have to make a choice, brothers and sisters. Either you want us to be subservient, you understand, to the colonialists them, or you want to be a free and independent people. That is our position. That's the only part that we could take as a people. Because this thing is not a joke anymore. You see what is happening. Look at in France. France is getting uranium from Niger, right? A kilo, 80 cents. On the world market, it's 200 euros.
They've raised it to the market, current market value.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to show you, every people ain't realizing that all these colonialists want to do and neo-colonialists is keep exploiting our natural resources. Where the brother say, no, we came here and we have all these natural resources and and he don't want to associate with Africa.
There's a caller. After this, we go to the commercial break. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Socrates.
Good afternoon, how are you?
And good afternoon to Ascolungi.
Blessed love.
But we're going to fire all of them and usher in a new dimension in the country. We ask the government. We're going to get rid of them. We're going to hire back Kim and get rid of all of them. Oh, yeah. That is where we're going to do them. Socrates.
Sir.
You realize what went on for that 40th anniversary? For young man who celebrate. What are you using the opportunity to bring our country together? Look where the vagabond people them do. Look at the smiling, jokey fellow where people want to vote for he could have a prime minister. Look what he do to this country. Divide the country. I mean, think it's not the time for them kind of things no more. I can't do that, Kalunji. Look at what happening around us. But the rest of them take over this thing and get rid of you. We don't get rid of you with our partisan politics and carry it out of context. We tired of that. We tired of it. And we don't get rid of you. We don't kick out of you. Like how I used to say about kickball and goal in the past. We don't kick out of you with that damn nonsense. We want a new dimension in this country. It's 40 years nationhood. 40 years. And look how vagabond you bring into the country. This one is politics. Look at Blanchett in the church. Look at what they do to the country. Young man, celebrate. They celebrate in a colony. They celebrate. Look where they bring in. Well, the founding fathers, they must be shaking in their back. Can't believe where they get in. Secretary says so bad. After hearing Jaya Clark, I decided I was going to need this to get some conscious version in my head.
Okay.
I enjoyed it over there, Sakoti. It was great. But they should have bring in, they got to now start to bring in some calypso in it, man. Control.
They've taken calypso out of the whole thing.
Calypso show, these nice calypso.
They've changed that. They've changed that. They take out calypso completely of the equation.
These people like a piece of cork floating in the water, you know. They're like cork floating in the water. The lot of stinking weed them were coming up from the ocean. It's a shame.
Let's hope we can do better.
All
right, thank you much for that. And at this point, we will take a pause to give credit to our sponsors, and we return to Las Colungi in this presentation.
This is a public service announcement.
Brace yourselves for the ultimate shopping extravaganza that you've been waiting for. Get ready to be blown away because double cashback coupon season has officially landed at Horsford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Can you feel the excitement in the air? It's that magical time of year when Horsford's paves the way to your dreams by giving away millions in free groceries with every Flex Pay Higher purchase.
Oh wait, there's more to this phenomenal offer.
Hold on to your seats because this is your chance to win an entire year of free groceries through the exhilarating Double Cashback Season Double Cashback Promotion. Wait, did I mention it's Double Cashback Coupon Season at Horsford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Don't delay, come in today before it's too late and snatch up your Double Cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Riddle this, riddle that. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is again giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars in cashback for free groceries with every hire purchase. Will be given back this coupon season. Happening now. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in cashback coupons to all our hire purchase customers this coupon season. Starting now until December 2023, you get absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase at our Horseman's Furniture and Appliances stores on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. So riddle this. Where can you get quality furniture and appliances at great prices with a flexible FlexPlay plan and with absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase? Riddle that. Cashback at Horseman's Furniture and Appliances on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. Riddle this, riddle that. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is giving you over $250,000 in cashback and a chance to win free groceries for a year. Riddle that cashback. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
It's 1:04, and we're well into the second half of today's presentation of Voices. We have with us in the studio, no stranger to the airways, Ras Kalonji. We're discussing the whole thing about democracy in Africa, and we were actually talking about our 40th independence anniversary celebration and how we as a people are still somewhat divided. So, Ras Kalonji is searching for documents. What are you looking for again?
I have here.
You have here.
Marcus of the Woods.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, we spoke about that shortly.
Right? Marcus, a slave who had been born in St. Kitts, first drew attention in 1813 when he ran away from Hutchinson Estate and took refuge in the mountains. A listing of runaways that was presented to the council in September 1814 showed that he had been absent from the estate for 10 months and was believed to have caused damage to provision grounds and 3 steers. He quickly gained a reputation as a notorious runaway and the predator, and the reward was offered for his capture. By the end of 1815, he and several other runaways were in custody, but because of insufficient evidence, they were spared jail time. However, the council and assembly felt that they had caused enough damage to warrant some sort of punishment. It was also feared that once discharged, they would once again restore to their lawless ways. The solution was to have them spend time on the convict gang. Marcus and his companions were therefore brought back by the public from the original owners and set to work at maintaining the roads and other public works on the island. The slave register of 1829 shows a Marcus who had been acquired by purchase from the public. Among the enslaved workers of Anthony Cunningham, he once again escaped from the estate in 1831 and led by a small band of more than 30 runaways that were very active on the leeward side of the island between Stonefort and Van Bell, well in sight of Brimstone Hill. The activities of Marcus of the Woods intensified during the summer of 1834 when he was wanted for murder. He had a musket in his possession and knew how to use it. During the period of martial law that followed the Declaration of Emancipation, troops were sent into the mountains of the interior in order to convince the Negroes, said to be concealed here, that their haunts are at any time accessible by troops. Marcus was cited on that occasion, but the guide who was leading the military party gave their presence away. In a letter dated 11th August 1834, A.P. Paxson, manager of Cunningham, claimed that no order may be expected in the country unless he, Marcus, is taken. A report to the Assembly in June 1834 showed that there were 94 enslaved persons absent from various estates and syndicats. There is no evidence of Marcus even having been captured again.
Okay. There was an unsuccessful bid recently to have Marcus recognized as a national hero, led by young Affiliati, and I forget the name of the doctor. Just come to me. And it's sad that we tend not to look at these persons with any kind of regard, respect, because it's ancient history. Okay? I had you read that because even though I know of it, there are lots in public who don't know. So if you can find a document about Betty Douglas, please share it also.
Well, Betty Douglas now, right? That was a sister, was a Gaviite. And she believed strongly in the rights of African people.
First, she was literate.
Yeah, I think she was a teacher also, right? So what I'm saying to you, these is the kind of people that we should be upholding. But what I'm saying to you is that
this is post-emancipation.
Yeah, after emancipation, yeah, Betty Douglas was you know about Wilkes?
Not sure.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot of people, my brother, you know? And what I'm saying to you is that our people, that's why we're saying that we need a national consciousness.
Okay, let's go back to Betty, right? This is post-emancipation. Why was she put in the stockade at Winfield Estate?
She was put in a stockade. I didn't know about that.
She was put in the stockade.
Okay.
And she took her captors to court because when she wrote to the overseas owner, they granted her freedom and that of her sons. But the local landlord refused to, and he put in the stockade.
Okay.
And that made part of the court. Is the only recounting of an enslaved person who took her captors to court here in St. Kitts. She lost the case, of course. The jury is white. The whole thing is pan is white. So that should be part of the record.
So what I'm saying to you, these are the kind of people that we should be, talking about. But what I'm saying to you, through our politicians and the political directorate was trained in a particular way, right, is that we don't see these things as important. You see, that's what I'm saying to you. I'm saying to you that we have sinned against one another. That's why we need to atone for our sins and get this thing right. Because you can't tell me, in this day and age, after COVID, all of us was locked down in COVID. And based on what was happening during the time of COVID, COVID could have killed any one of us. So now, how come, my brother, that I should be against you or you should be against me? Well, all of us in the same boat.
The tribalism I mentioned earlier is still very much entrenched. And it's not going to change. I'm not being just cynical. I'm saying it's not going to change overnight.
I agree with that.
And that is why it happened, the fact that we are miseducating our younger generation. We have to perpetuate that mindset.
Look at this again. Mr. Challenger was the first president of the union.
Edgar Challengers.
Mr. Manchester, you understand, was the president of the Workers' League.
I also mentioned Sebastian.
Matthew Sebastian. Right? Now, Matthew Sebastian said, and I'm quoting him, I'm glad you brought up his name, that...
Pause, let's see his call. Call 11 Voices. You miss it? Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Matthew Sebastian said that the working class is the most important class within our society. And these are the kind of things that we should be talking about.
Let's set this call. Call 11 Voices. Got a call 11 Voices.
Blessed love, King.
Yes, good afternoon.
Greetings. Pascal Anjay.
Blessed love.
Yeah, man, big up yourself. Yeah, so good. Listening the idea and reasoning forward, and the 40 year independence. Now, you see, I just want to wish everybody 40 years of independence. But are we independent, you know what I mean? And then are we supposed to be independent? And if we're supposed to be independent of who? Independent of what, you know what I mean?
Point.
To me, we supposed to be interdependent, you know. We depend on one another, you know. That's why Colombia say we need to unite, you know. We need each other. That's true. Yeah, that's how I say it, you know. But through them and slavery, and they say, well, we got to fight for independence from them. You know what I mean? You know, let these things to play games will remain. You know what I mean? God, like anybody know, we, you know. God, they give us a system, you know. Remember this political system that we observe. We get it from the people, them, who in slavery. That system, they ain't about our unity. You know what I mean? Because it's a two-party, which means straight out the back. You're divided. Some gone so and some gone the other way. You know what I mean? So these are things going on all the time. and you know what I mean, we elect leaders who would pledge a swear oath of allegiance to a foreign power.
Okay.
That can be a serious government. You know, and that's all going on all the time. Now we see when France, you see over in Africa where the Belgian them do, the Belgian them are directly seeking their independence. In the done with independence, they want independence. Independence from France means France still rule them and control up the things them, you know what I mean? So them man done with that and I deal with interdependence. So they are come together now and done it with France and the game, you see? Which is the way forward, you know what I mean? And like as Colombia said, we need a consciousness. It's Rasta forward, that's what you are about. You can't be, you know what I mean, Rasta come to replace, you know. So, because Rasta is what will reconnect us to who you are and how we are supposed to be, you know. We only gonna know ourselves when we sight up ourselves through the spectacles of Rastafari. Rastafari is a consciousness, is the highest consciousness for man on the planet.
Respect.
See? Yeah, man, give thanks.
Thank you for your contribution. Let's continue.
Yes, as the brother was saying, we need to be on one page, Brother Sacco. You see? Because we came down here in the slave ship as one people, right? Now, here it is. In St. Kitts, the 1937 election was contested by Thomas Manchester and Edgar Challenger, President and Vice President of the Workers' League. Patrick Ryan and William Walwyn, nominees of the ACS. Another call.
Continue. Finish up and then take the call.
Okay. And Clement Malone as an independent candidate endorsed by both organizations. The registration of voters was met with mixed feeling. Some more curious, some more cautious, for fear that there might be a catch somewhere. Others wanted to know what it was all about. The League's electoral campaign fell into the hands of the staff of the Union Messenger, J. Matthew Sebastian and Joseph France. Also, in the forefront were Charles Halbert, Walter Davis, an electrician by trade, and Isa Bradley, right? That's another one, a retired headmistress who had been a founding member of the Teachers Association. Joseph Nathan distanced himself from the campaign as he felt that none of the candidates were interested in the wage of the lower classes or had expressed any interest in it.
Okay. We're going to revert to the lines now. I want you to finish that point. So as we celebrated and we identified many persons for national hero status, at least a conversation should be had about the contributions these folks could have made, right? But there's a school of thought that Manchester's color was used against him.
Yeah, but he was a black man.
I understand.
You see?
He was the same thing as William Herbert Sr.
But
right?
not only that, but even Edgar Challenger.
Yeah,
you see,
but he was not of a complexion.
Yeah, but
they were not of a tone.
Yeah,
and so back in the day, their color they were made to identify with the planter class.
But they stand for the working class.
I understand that, but because of the politics of the day, and because it was opportunistic for some people to use their color against them, and none has made a contribution, a sacrifice at the level of Manchester.
And Edgar Challenger. And not only that, but Mr. Sebastian was a black man, because in the Buckley's uprising, a man who got shot, that took him for Matthew Sebastian.
Okay,
he was riding home on his bike from the factory. So what I'm saying to you is that we have to see these things in its real context and be objective about it. You see what I'm saying? Because those were the forerunners of Bratcher and France and these guys who are there now. Yeah. So what I'm trying
morphed into the Labour Union, which was the platform for the Labour Party.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to show you now, we have to deal with the root, not the leaves and the branches. Because that is the root. Because Mr. Manchester, even though he come from the planter class and he stand with the working class, the plantocracy came against him.
Shut him down.
Exactly.
Denied him loans from the bank.
You see? So these things, that's why I say we need a national consciousness.
First, the education.
But that's what the national consciousness is all about. Because we have to say that we have to believe in certain things, regardless of the political persuasion. Right? And we have to be grounded in these things. You can't tell me, if you ask the average Kittian, are you an African? They're going to say, no, I'm a Kittitian. The only Kittitian I know is Columbus.
Break that down for me. Break that down for me, please. Yeah. Break it down for me, please.
Yeah, that's the only one I know.
Break it down.
What I'm saying, let's say he discovered here, right? When people was here already, the native people. And not only that, they took a look. We're talking about what France is doing in Africa. France was also a colonizer of St. Kitts.
Of course, yes.
Because the country was split in two before the Treaty of Breda. You understand? When there was a war between England and France, England won, and France had to take its capital to, I think, is Martinique or Guadeloupe. So what I'm trying to show you that our people have to know these things. And because we don't know these things, that's why we have this political rivalry amongst ourselves. So I'm saying our people need to be re-educated, you know, objectively, in the sense that what is the true and real history of our people. Why we came here? We came here to produce labor, to create wealth for the colonizer.
Said it earlier.
You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to show you is that we have to be clear about who we are. We are African people who was conquered in Africa, you know what I mean? Brought here against our will to produce labor for the metropolitan countries who are so rich today. So I'm saying to our people, we got to get really, on this 40th anniversary of so-called independence, we have to redirect, you understand, our interests. We have to redirect our focus in terms of dealing with the real situation that we are facing in this 21st century.
Wait, we have 9 minutes to go. 662-0989, 466-0989-762. 0989 gets you in on the conversation before we close play today, so the lines are open. I actually stopped the call a while ago. And this is the second time that I'm going to give out this admonition. I was actually reminded by someone who sent me a WhatsApp to not entertain any call from the public, from anyone who use disparaging remarks in describing our elected officials. I can understand the passion, how you feel about certain things, but there is no need for you to be disrespectful in referring to elected officials, anybody as a matter of fact, anybody at all. I would not be entertaining any calls in the future where you're referring to people as vagabonds, etc., etc. The engineers, of course, they would have the instructions to cut that caller. So on the behalf of WINNFM, the radio station, I wish to extend an apology for me actually. I more or less allowed the call. I didn't encourage it. I didn't cut the call, but there was a caller previously who referred to, I would say, the Prime Minister and others of that standing as vagabonds and this and that. We are better than that. Once again, I apologize, and I'm informing all those who made that call, the person made the call, and others, that I will not be entertaining any call. I don't need to be told that in the past, this and that was allowed. I am not going on the road. But most now I stand politically, but I do not disrespect anybody in that manner in any forum, so I will not entertain that on the radio station.
But here is Brother Socrates. You're talking about the term vagabond, right?
Yep.
is a British terminology.
Yeah. But is it where we understand it?
Yeah.
Is it where we understand it and apply it?
Listen what I'm saying. Let me explain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying to you that we don't realize that the animosity that we have amongst us is a colonial legacy of British colonialism. For instance, the people who came to these countries were called vagabonds in England. That's where the term vagabond come from. Because they were jailbirds. You see? That's
You're talking about the indentured servants?
Yeah,
No,
the ones who came from England, the white people who came from England in order to settle these countries.
Okay.
Right? They were termed as vagabonds. So no, we're now using the term here now in this present day. And we don't understand it, what its proper context are.
But we understand the connotation. We understand what it means when it's directed to a person.
Yeah, that's what
It's a slur.
Yeah, but what
it's denigrating and we should not.
Exactly, but what I'm saying that if we knew the history, we wouldn't be using that term. It's like using the term nigger in America against black people, right? We know that it came from our oppressors in order to describe us. So what I'm trying to show you is that we use a lot of things around here, referring to ourselves, and we don't understand the root. Take the term gentleman. You know, a gentleman. You know what a gentleman is in England?
Aristocrat.
No, a gentleman is a man who beat his wife and leave no scars.
Really?
Yeah, he beat her so much that you can't tell that she was beaten.
I know about the rule of thumb and the whole different thing with the whip, but that's new to me. A gentleman was one described. That was the name given to someone who could beat their wife without leaving a scar.
Yeah, exactly.
Gentle.
Because he did it in such a way that you didn't know that she was beaten. You see, that's what I'm saying. Look at how we respond to our women folk.
So when I refer to the PM as a gentleman.
That's what I'm saying, but we don't know. We don't know the root. You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to show you that education is very important. And if we don't take the time out to re-educate ourselves, I'm not just talking about on shows like these.
I know.
These things have to be put in the schools.
There's a lady who won a Sunshine Award some years ago. And I was told about it because somebody called from Antigua to tell me, well, she won that award based on a song I wrote called Re-Educate the Caribbean Man. You know, she went by the name of Sassy back then as a Calypsonian. Yeah. And she actually won the Sunshine Award based on the song I wrote. And the name of the song was Re-Educate the Caribbean Man. So we're in the same page.
You see? So what I'm trying, that's why you're talking about national consciousness. Because what I'm saying to you, in this present time, I can't be against no African in this country, based on what, because like Malcolm said, we have a common enemy. We have a common oppressor, a common exploiter, and a common discriminator. We have a real enemy against us. So now how I going to be against you? No, today is Wednesday, right? We're talking about the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Imani means Wednesday, right?
All right.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Umoja. Ujima, sorry.
We got about 4 minutes to go, so.
Yeah, collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our sisters and brothers problems our problems and to solve our problems together. Ujima means working together and helping each other. You see, this is the kind of things that we need. Because I was saying, right? Look how we treat our women folk here, our sisters, right? Our princesses. That is a European concept that came from England. We were socialized into a British way of life.
Okay, you lost me there. How we treat women currently, what are you referring to? What aspect of how we treat women are you referring to?
We treat our women as nothing. Okay, a lot of brothers like to beat women. That concept came from Europeans. That is not the African way because we were socialized and indoctrinated with the values of British colonialism. That's the point I'm making. Look how, me and you have a conflict. We should come up with ways how to resolve our conflict. We should start from a position of unity, trash out our differences, and end up at unity.
Okay. You're going to get feedback that we blame the say white man for everything about a behavior, even today, so many years after emancipation. And well, I have a whole different show I can do on that as to why we as Caribbean men behave in certain ways, certain patterns of behavior, and the causations for it. But we don't have enough time to deal with that today. But you're going to get that feedback where we blame the white man for everything. We do things that we want to blame somebody else. But there's a time when we have to take that collective responsibility, re-educate ourselves, and change a pattern of behavior so that the younger generation won't follow in the footsteps of what we inherited.
But that's why I say we got to take this, we got to re-educate our people. That's the responsibility.
But on the point of that, we beat women because we learned it from Europeans. That I wanted to clarify. We need to have that discussion because there are many aspects of it where we would be told, well, you can't blame the white man for everything. So I wanted to get it in. We got about a minute before we go, so do you wrap up? And then we.
But look at look at the
about a minute to wrap up.
Yeah, look at the terminology again, the vagabond. That's a European concept. Okay. And like I say, the gentleman, you didn't even know that. I mean, Dr. Ben is the one who taught me that.
I hear you.
You see what I'm saying?
Your clock is ticking.
Yeah. Gematri Sebastian, right, says, the laboring mass is the upkeep of the community and consequently the class on which our prosperity and our progress depends. Therefore, in catering to this class, we are promoting our own, generally speaking, chances of development, right? His Majesty, let us not deny our ideals and sacrifice our rights to stand as the champion of the poor, the ignorant, and the oppressed everywhere. Principles alone can endow our ideals with force and meaning. Let us be true to what we believe, that our belief may serve and honor us. Give thanks, one love. What Granny said, unity is the only solution to the pollution. Our people need to be unified moving forward in the 21st century. Down with the division. We don't want that no more. And let me say, I just want to say, Brother Sako, the time, the unity amongst Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, they have a military pact now. That is very, very good for our people. That's what we need to do.
I appreciate that. I follow that development, but I want to say to our viewers and listeners, thank you very much for joining us on today's presentation of Voices. Thank you to folks who were able to make the contribution, those who listened, those who sent their information by text. Thank you one and all. God's willing, we'll be back on Friday morning to continue the national discourse on WINNFM 98.9 on this program called Voices. To all, wish you the best of the rest of today and going forward.
Are you ready for a transformation in your living space? Look no further than Horsewood's Furniture and Appliances, your ultimate destination for easy living, easy saving. Get ready to experience comfort like never before with our living room set sale event. For a limited time, we're offering an incredible 20% off on all cash purchases of living room sets store-wide. Yes, you heard that right. 20%